Right now, yes. Okay, right now, y'all, just be aware we're being recorded. So look, if y'all on camera, you want to be cute, go ahead and make sure you just got your eyebrows laid and you got your edges sleek. No, I'm just playing. But yes, you guys. So look, let's go ahead and get started. Maine, are you ready? Are you there? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you okay. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, yes, yes. And so, yeah, I want you to kind of just give them a bit of a backstory of pretty much, the one thing that impacts people the most is like why you got started in entrepreneurship, what your vision was, like where it all began, right? So we want to know some about that.
Okay, how far back you want me to go? Well, I'll give
I mean,
y'all
yes.
wherever. Okay. So a little bit about me. My name is Maine Simon. I was born to two immigrant parents. My mom is West Indian. She's from St. Croix. My dad's from Antigua. So I was born from a strong Caribbean family. My mom, she was actually raised by her grandmother and my grandmother's husband, which was a fisherman. So he was an entrepreneur as well. So he would go get fish, and my great grandmother, she would cut sugar cane. So she bought property early, and I just seen my mom struggle a lot early growing up. She came to New York for a better life, and I seen her struggling a lot. 2-bedroom apartment, multiple kids. She actually had three of us, and then went and got three more, my stepsisters, and we was in a 2-bedroom apartment, really struggling to make ends meet. I remember going to the thrift store just to get a suit, and I would get irregular clothes, $1, $2 with my aunt. And that all that really struggle really propelled me to want more for myself and for my family. And I wanted to see my family do well. So I wanted to work hard. So I got involved into the streets, right? So I got in the streets. I got out of the streets at a young age, but I got into the streets, and then I got out at a young age. But I learned a lot from my older peers. I never hung out with anyone that was my age. I always hang out with older peers, and I think it's real important to have mentorship and older people that you can bounce ideas off of to help you on your journey in life. But it's been a crazy ride. People just know some of the story. They don't know the whole full story, but that's a whole different topic. But I say that to say this, through adversity and challenges, those chisel your character, right? So a lot of times people they get frustrated when they're embraced with challenges, and I think that's the perfect time for you to step up, right? Step up and really propel you forward, because through rain, you always need two things to grow, right? I'm gonna give you guys this. You need two things to grow, right? You need a fertile soil, right? You need a good seed, you need rain, and you need sunlight, right? So a lot of times people want to shine, but they don't want to go through the rain and put in that pain. So, you need both to grow. You also need a fertile soil. So this community is great. I love what you guys are doing as far as, bringing a community of people that are like-minded, that bring different things to the table. So you definitely need both. So I'll give it back to you if you have any further questions.
Wow, 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 man. Like that's powerful though. You know what I mean? Just to hear your story, you could have chosen a different route, right? Considering, where you came from. Though you had, grandparents, great decisions. A lot of times we get caught up in the streets because it's quick and easy. But you made a decision to go into entrepreneurship, right? So the biggest thing I want to know that up on your history, right, where you came from. I know a lot of us got that moment, that pivot, right? It was a pivot of a day or something that happened where you were somewhere. I know you remember. Most people do, where there was a change where you said, you know what, I not only want to just, what I'm saying, break generational curses, but I want to take it to a whole nother level that's never been seen before. Like I see that's what you've been doing, right? So what was that pivot in your life? Like what drove that pivot so that other people know that, hey, look, I may be in that space where I'm in this limbo and I'm in need of a pivot or a change, but I don't know how to get there. How do people recognize that change or that pivot for
That's a
themselves?
great question. So I say my biggest pivot was when I moved to California, and I saved up $7,000. I was working three jobs at the time, Stop and Shop. I was working at Nordstrom's, and I was working at the cell phone store. But here's the thing. What I did was I put myself on a quarter budget, right? So every day I would just spend a quarter. I only get a bag of chips. And then I asked the person in the pizza shop for a glass of water. And then my goal was just to make it home to get my meal. So a lot of times people don't sacrifice enough. They don't budget enough. They get a little bit of money and they want to shine quick. Me, my biggest pivot was seeing people in my neighborhood go to jail, seeing people in my neighborhood only make 30,000 a year, which is no disrespect to anybody making that, but that's what I saw. So I see my life ahead of me. I was like, look, if I'm surrounded in this environment, remember I stated environment and soil is very key, right? I said, if I stay in this environment, it was no way I was gonna ever break a certain ceiling. Number one, I was a Black man in America. Number two, I was uneducated. I didn't have a college education. Number three, I didn't come from money, right? I didn't come from money. So those three factors right there, that leads to one of two things. Either I'm going to try to get fast money and go to jail, or two, I'm going to be capped off in the work environment. So I knew that at an early age. My biggest pivot was when I went to California with that money, and then I went broke. They repoed my car. I was getting evicted from my place. I had 3 days to come up with $1,400, and I was doing music at the time. This is how I got into the music industry, but I was doing music at the time, just recording at a friend's house, and we had about 10 tracks. They was like, look, you're gonna get evicted or you gotta pay this. We burnt CDs on a laptop, went out within 72 hours, made up the whole 1,400 right there. That birthed the transition in my life, where I knew, like, look, no matter what, I could go out there and make my money. Not only was I able to pay my rent, during that time, it was through like 5 years, I managed to sell over 300,000 records, bought my mom a house. I bought myself a house in Las Vegas. I helped my baby moms get a house. So I started getting into real estate from money that I was making on the street, just meeting people. So I became good with understanding people, understanding tendencies and things like that. All of that helped shape me. So I would say that was the biggest pivot, really just having to be broke. Sometimes you got to get broken in order for you to put everything back together. So being broke is the biggest pivot. So, a lot of times I even play broke. I'll get money and I'll hide it somewhere, and then I act like I ain't got it. And I just keep pushing ahead, like work with what you have. The same thing that you could do with a little, you could do with a lot. So it's really important to just work with what you have. If you have a cell phone, all right, make this cell phone make you money. If you have a pen, how's this pen gonna make me some money? All right, I gotta write some ideas down. I gotta improve on the design. I gotta do something new. Every day you either getting better or you getting worse, and time is just ticking away. So we all on the expiration date, right? So the same 24 hours, you got to think to yourself, okay, what can I do in this 24 hours that's going to help me mentally, spiritually, physically, or financially? Those four things: mentally, spiritually, physically, financially. So that's what I do. And I say that's my biggest pivot, to be honest with you, just being broken. Sometimes you got to get broken and endure that pain and have that pain put everything together. So that'll be the answer to your question.
What? Look at that. Hey, man, look, let me tell you, y'all drop some fire signs in the chat if y'all heard that pivot, because it's a big deal. I know a lot of us go through this phase in life where we have to get to the point where we're completely at rock bottom. Sometimes just being a little bit okay or just having enough is not it. Sometimes we need to be all the way broken down so that we can be reconstructed. So you guys, look, I make sure my internet's stable. Can y'all see me, man? Can you see me? Am I going robot on y'all?
Yeah, we can see you. We can see you. You okay?
Mm-hmm. Good. Okay, good. So yeah, so I mean, when we look at it, and I can just, share from experience, we don't see a lot of, where I'm from, we don't see a lot of Black males going to that place where their pivot makes them go into a positive place, right? Most times that pain takes them into a place where it begins to destroy, the better parts of them instead of them build on it. And where I'm going with this is right now where you are, Maine, right? That pivot that changed you to put you in position, right? Where are you now? Like, we kind of heard where you were, your pivot, but what are you working on now? Like, what multiple streams of income are you working on now that can possibly help somebody or get somebody ideas to move forward in their lives?
That's a good question. I say first start with yourself, right? Determining where's your circle of competence. And a lot of times people say, okay, do what you're passionate about, do what you love. I say do where what you feel can make the greatest impact over the longest period of time, right? That's what I feel like, what you're comfortable with, because a lot of times, even if you're doing what you're passionate about, that passion may change, right? I could tell you guys, hey, do this now, and that changes with the economy or times, right? So I would say just find something in which it's your circle of competence, to where it's like, okay, I understand this, I'm good at this. How can I maximize this, right? If you're a woman, right? Women are naturally just normal. They're going to purchase things, right? So no matter what, women are more receptive to purchasing things. So women are good marketing shares. The things that I'm into right now, I'll be honest, I'm into funding. I'm into Turo, Airbnb. I have several streams, but I calculate everything on a spreadsheet, and I do risk versus reward. And I feel like a lot of times people don't leverage their credit enough. Most of the people that I know that have good credit, they don't have a lot of debt, right? And we're taught that debt is a bad thing. There's good debt and there's bad debt, right? And if you're using your debt adequately to leverage it to then get something that's producing income, or an asset that's driving income, it's about cash flow. No matter how the cash is flowing, it needs to keep coming in. And as long as you keep your liabilities low and you have that cash flowing in, you're going to be able to be successful. There's Airbnb, though. There's Turo. There's Postmates. There's Uber. People overlook some of these things like, look, they're not valuable streams, but if you could go out in 2 hours and make 3 hours and make $200-300, all right, now I got $200-300. If I do this for, let's say I do it for 10 times, that's 2 bands, right? So now I take those 2 bands and I may get me a 1-bedroom Airbnb, right? I could go to the thrift store to furnish it, put it on Verbo, put it on Airbnb, put it on a few outlets. Boom, now I got another cash flowing property that's giving me $1,000 a day. Now I just turned that 2,000 for 1 month into 3,000 a month if it's rented out every day. Now you do that you see what I mean? And you just compound it. You got to look for things that don't require 1,000,000 hours of your time, but you're still earning income from it. That's the key, man. So really leveraging your credit to get your credit to put you in a good space where you can get money from the bank. You get the money from the bank, and now you put the money to work. So that's the key to the game. Most people, they only work for money and their liabilities are high. So you're going to be on a hamster wheel because you always got to go get some more money to pay your bills. You always got to it's never nothing coming in passively to where you can leverage the passive income to then get yourself, you can still work and get income, but that should be like savings. Also invest in $500 a month in the S&P 500. There's also I bonds that's giving 10% a year that you can invest into. So I think long term, I don't plan for 5 years. I plan for 10 years. Like if I get something now, what's the 10-year return going to be on it? What's the 5 years? How's it going to look this time? And I think that keeps you really ahead of the game. Also, staying low. You got to go low. So many people want to be ballers and want to be high. Like, just because your credit's good, like, I want to, hey, let me blow that money. No, get that money, capture it, and then put it to work for something. If it ain't working, it's depreciating. Inflation's eating it up. It's going to pay bills. So a lot of times people get money to save. No, I get money to buy investments. I also have a dealership, so I buy, sell cars, Turo, Airbnb, several different revenue streams. So as long as it's making me money and I don't have to put my hands all in it. And then a lot of times people don't want to hire experts or hire people that are geniuses in that space, right? If I'm going into a space that I don't know, I'm gonna reach out to people that's familiar in that space before I get involved, because there's a lot of laws and licenses that you have to obtain. So you need to just know the market niche. So I would say that helps with financial revenue. Is that good?
That's good. Look, I'm over here amazed. And as I'm listening to you, it's just I'm kind of seeing a picture, But the biggest thing that I want to ask you now, and I know we got a lot of people on here that may understand some of these terms, but let's say, for instance, somebody that may be trying to start from the ground up. Like we talk about it pretty much bare minimum at this point. They credit may be, right? They don't really understand how to get started on just this adventure of entrepreneurship, but they want to. Like, what would you recommend they start if they don't have a lot of resources right now? It's pretty much just them. They at ground zero and they hungry, but they got a lot of information, but they don't know what to do with it.
So I would recommend someone like that. So find out whatever the niche is that you want to get involved in and work in that niche first. Like I was in the car business for 20 years before I opened up my own car dealership, right? So I had a chance to see like how the revenue runs, how the deals are made, where the packaging is, right? I was working. So, if you want to be a hairstylist and that's your niche in business, apprentice under a good hairstyle, not an average, like a great hairstylist that's gonna be phenomenal in that niche, right? You apprentice, you work, but I think the biggest key is learning from somebody that's an expert in the space, not somebody that's mediocre, average. You want the greatest person in that space and tell them, hey, look, I'm gonna pay you for your time. Not only that, I'm gonna work for you for free. What do you think they're going to say? They're going to say, okay, let's rock. They're going to see you rocking. You're going to see their DMO on how they approach the clients, the different things that they have. And I've done this with several jobs that I've worked, even working at the Palms Casino, before I started doing nightclubs myself, I seen the infrastructure of how a casino is ran, the marketing department, the hosts, the dealers, the cashiers, everything, how it goes into sync. And I think the best way for you to learn how to be a Fortune 500 company is work under a Fortune 500 company. Also lowering your liabilities. I think people have too many liabilities that are unnecessary. You don't need a car payment, right? I haven't had a car payment in I don't know how many years. Like I don't do car payments, not just because I'm in the business. I could do that, but if you look at it like this, right? If you write down your expenses, right? The first biggest expense is going to be your home, right? The second expense is probably going to be your car. The third is probably going to be your insurance or something like that, right? So the two biggest expenses, if your car is paid for and your insurance lowers, so you got lower insurance and you don't have a car note, that cuts out about 600 out of your budget. Take that 600 and you can invest it. If you run that play for 4 months, just doing that, lowering that expenses, that's 2,400. If you was treating it like you still had it. Now at your home, you can say, okay, well, look, I'm living here. I might got an extra room, or I could get a roommate, or I could maybe roommate with somebody. This is what the Chinese people do, the Indian people do. They come to the country, to America, it'd be like 5 of them in a 2-bedroom, in a 1-bedroom, and they be stacking for 10 years. I had a lady, she was a nail tech for one of my friends. 10 years, had her own nail salon, right? She just bought a house last year. She put $100,000 cash down on it. But what we like to do is we like to get the things that look good before we actually build our business. The average business takes 5 years to even reach the halfway mark. 50% of businesses fail within the first 5 years, 50%. Now, if you go 10 years, 60% of businesses fail. 10 years. So that's why I say I plan 10 years out. Even in business, you have to have business ventures that have low liabilities and low costs. So I would say if you just getting started, get into a niche. To answer your question, get into a niche, right? Work. First, you want to work and then lower your liabilities. Work in a niche or a field that you want to get involved in. Work in that particular field. Like me, it was nightclubs. So what I do, I worked for one of the nightclubs to see how they infrastructure is, how they pay, what the bar revenue is looking like. And then I ask good questions. I'm a voracious learner. So any particular niche that I'm in, I'm going to ask good questions. You ask questions and then you dissect it. After you get the questions, you cross-check, cross-reference it. Oh, it's right? Okay. All right. I see they're generating this amount of revenue. Okay. What's the marketing budget that you guys have? Okay, great. Okay. What are you guys selling the bottles? And then you could get price points for everything. And you can also get manufacturer deals. You build connections with different liquor companies, right? I have connections at Bel Air, have connections with Remy Martin. You get liquor sponsorship. It's so many different areas that you can generate revenue from, but you're not going to know it until you're in that particular niche or field. So I would say work multiple jobs, work in the field that you want to learn about. If you want to learn about Airbnbs, talk to a mentor that does Airbnbs, work 3 jobs, lower your liabilities, maybe lowering your housing costs, lowering your car costs. The 3 biggest expenses is always house, car, insurance. Those are 9 times out of 10 the biggest. Am I right? Put in the chat what's your 3 biggest expenses right now. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe because I want a little participation from everybody. What's your 3 biggest expenses you would say? And just let me know if I'm right. If I definitely car, house, see? Okay. That's about right. Okay, cool. And children for real, right? Mortgage and car, see? But children, that's the sneaky expense, right? That's the sneaky expense. But it's a tax deductible if you put your child on payroll. So you could get something back for that. Also your car and your home if you work from home as well. But we want to lower those expenses to where we don't have it, right? We want to lower those expenses. If you can't write it off, also don't spend money on it. Don't spend money on it if you can't write it off. That's also a good thing. So definitely thank you guys for commenting. Appreciate you. Back to you, Kandice.
Yes, I'm back. So when I tell you, you dropping some gems, honey, I'm telling y'all, this is powerful. I'm taking notes as everybody else probably is as well. The one thing that I guess right now that I see a lot of it's a lot of people out here, like you said, within the first 5 years, most business fail. Like they starting and stopping. They starting and stopping. Like they doing this one thing and then they stopping this thing. What they say. You being a jack of all trades, but not you a master of none. Yeah, and this goes for right, like that's one of the things that I see a lot of. And so the one thing that I guess people would have to do, and this is just me, and I'm asking you, people, when you say find a niche, right? I think people want to get on the thing that's going to be the most convenient for them, that's not going to cost them the most to get started, right? The biggest thing that I learned about freedom costs, right? So
absolutely.
freedom pretty much costs everything. Right. And so when we talk about this movement, this infinite wealth movement, we talk about freedom, right? To be able to break free from our situations. I want to know what's like your biggest, bit of advice for people here right now concerning what that change was in your lifestyle, like what that freedom felt like to your family. I'm sure, like, because as you come up, that brings your family up, that brings your kids up, that people connected to you. Like, what did that freedom do for your mind? I know a lot of times, people are so bogged down with responsibilities, the things that they have from the place of poverty versus the place of freedom. It's a different ball game. But I want you to share with that experience about what it did to your mind, how it changed your stress level, all that.
Oh, so like having that freedom to where like I have financial freedom like that?
Freedom, and how it frees up your mental. Like, because a lot of people that's got stressors of finances, it's a whole different ball game for them. But though you still have multiple streams of income, you got multiple, irons in the fire, it's a different type of stress. Like, tell them how it changed, like how your stress level changed, what the transition was like, or maybe you was a person that really, either way, it wasn't stressing you either way because you was always about, about that dollar. But for some people, like they trying to penny pinch, they getting it together, they getting their businesses together, they trying to work it out, and it's getting to them. Like, what advice would you, offer them, even for that capacity, their mental capacity during this
So
journey?
you're saying like for freedom and your mental capacity, what advice could I offer you for your freedom? Well, I'll offer you this, right? The one thing you got to remember is God is always going to provide for you. God is always going to provide. Put that in your head. God will always provide. So no matter what, we get into a scarcity state and it makes us act upon survival versus acting on freedom, right? So there's 2 ways that you can operate. You can operate in the spirit of survival, or you can operate in the spirit of freedom, right? When you're operating in the spirit of freedom, you take your time, you dissect everything, you look at everything in a whole, and then you move accordingly. When you operate in the spirit of survival, your mode is like, oh, I gotta get the next, I gotta pay this, I gotta pay that, right? Instead of thinking to yourself like, okay, how can I create wealth? from this situation? Not let me get $1. How can this become sustainable wealth, right? And I think that's the biggest thing that separates the wealthy mindset and the poverty mindset. The poverty mindset will always think about survival. So, okay, I gotta get this. I gotta hustle. I gotta work. I gotta pay my bills, right? The wealthy mindset thinks, how can I get enough money to make this money work? I gotta make the money work. I'm not working for money. Money works for me, right? So how can I do that? The biggest way that you're going to be able to do that is through credit leverage. So by having your utilization rate low, where it's low, like 4%, 9%, you got to play the bank game. This is the game that I play. I play the bank game. People are like, man, you always at the bank. No, because I'm always at different banks, building relationships with branch managers, figuring out what do I need to get this sort of loan? What do I need to get this sort of loan? So once I know all the criteria, I may go to 5 credit unions and have bank accounts with them all, right? You get a loan from this one, right? You leverage that money until you start earning income from that. You pay that loan back. Now you go get another loan from this bank, right? You paid that loan off. Now they know you good. You can come back and get money from them. But every single big chunk you get, you're putting it in investment vehicles. So that way, once you sell those investment vehicles, whether it's a car or you're getting money generated from an Airbnb, or you're getting Turo where it's weekly money, you're paying back off those loans. You're going back. It's kind of like a plug. A plug fronts you something, you got to pay them back. You pay the plug back, they're going to give you double. They're going to give you more. This isn't anything, right? So if you look at business, like it's real business, all you need is the bank. That's where everybody get their money from, right? How your payroll checks get cut, how anyone's paying us, they have a bank that's paying us, that the money's going into account and then they paying us. So why wouldn't you develop those relationships with the bank? And I think that the biggest way for you to become financially free is when you really understand that all I have to do is just make sure my credit A1, somebody gonna give me the bread. And then when I get this bread, I'm gonna invest it into something that's gonna make me more bread. And that's the true definition of financial freedom. And then you learn credit card leverage, right? Where am I getting my points? Where am I getting my flights? Where am I getting my double bonus points? Where am I getting my cash back? And then it becomes a game of write-offs and cash back. So write-offs, cash back. So now you spending the bank's money, they're paying you cash back on that money, you paying them. You see what I'm saying? It becomes a different kind of game. So I think like really leveraging that to get assets. You could buy land for like 5,000, 3,000, 10,000. You could make it into a parking lot, charge people $5. Maybe it's near a place that's popping and booming in your town. You could charge them $5, $10 to use this extra lot space. You make a call different people in your area, throw a festival there, right? It's your land. It's raw land, right? So I just think thinking outside the box, understanding that money is meant to make you more money and then pay that money back. That's the simplest way to put it. Like, that's why I wrote the book, Got Credit. You guys could get that book. It really describes, having credit leverage. That's what it is. Once I knew the credit game, and I knew I could make 1,448 to 72 hours, ain't nothing nobody could tell me. I could be down to my last. I know I could go out there and make something happen if I want to. You know what I'm saying? But I don't have to work for money no more. I know how to make my money work for me. So that's what I think is the true key from, the wealthy mindset and the poverty mindset. So hopefully that added value. Hopefully I answered the question and I ain't dancing around it.
You answered the question. No, you did. I feel like that was everything. Because some people, they adapt to that, wealth mindset. Some people, it's like they born with it to a certain degree. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It sounds like you've been had it. You know what I mean? A lot of times we just have to find it, right? It's there. We just have to find it. Once we get to that place, like you said, that pivot that puts you in position, that's everything.
No, you're absolutely right. 100%.
So y'all, right now, drop some that right now, you guys, for those that are on this call, this live right now, that have a wealth mindset. If you say, you know what, I got a wealth mindset, drop some fire signs in the chat, y'all. Because if y'all got it, I know for a fact the people around y'all are influenced. The biggest thing I learned about being wealthy is pulling somebody else up, right? So in this journey, we want to pull more people up. You mentioned my favorite person. You mentioned God earlier. You was preaching earlier. You had a couple of little insert, but when I tell you, I know for a fact that's what's going to keep everybody grounded in this journey to financial freedom and to success. So let me ask you this. In this journey, how important was your relationship with God? In this journey, how important was it?
That's a great question, man. Honestly, my mom, a lot of people don't know my mom was a Sunday school teacher. She's very, very, very spiritual, very God-fearing. And I grew up in the church. I used to be in the choir. I went to Catholic school, all that. But see, what was ironic, that's why I said God, right? My mom used to put a chore list on my wall, right in the hallway. And at the top of the chore list, it was put God first, right? That was number one. If you didn't do that, she didn't even want you to do the chores or anything else. So that was the first thing. And what it really embedded into my head is that nothing is impossible when you have God, you have a strong faith, and your belief is there, right? So that's the strongest thing. And you have to understand that things don't happen to you, it happens for you. Everything is not happening to you, it's happening for you. It's just leading you and directing you to what you need to go, to your destiny. So you got to trust your journey. You got to trust your journey. You got to have unlimited belief in yourself. And a lot of times people are looking for different things to make them whole. Like, what's the blueprint to this? What's the blueprint? No, it's already inside of you. You just haven't magnified, fully developed and grew into the person that you could become. But I think a lot of times we become great cheerleaders. Like we cheer everybody on. Oh yeah, man. Oh, congrats. But all you need to do is cheer yourself on. Like, I deserve this. I am ready. I am that person. I'm the jewel. God is within me. God ain't gonna let me fail. I know God got my back. I'm ready to meet anything head on and have that unlimited confidence and belief in yourself and know that you deserve that. You see what I'm saying? Once you got that mindset and you got that spirit, like, come on, who they think they talking to? Do they not know God is right with me? They talking to God right now. God is with me. You see what I mean? Once you got that belief, I think everything changes and transcends. You'll look at a bill, it'll be like, oh, this is $10,000. Oh, so what? God got that. Come on, man, that ain't nothing. And then you'll start to manifest. You see, the power of manifestation is knowing that you're okay. You're all right. You right on time. You got this. And then you start to manifest everything that you need to do. It'll start shaping itself up because you get into a different mode now. Now you mentally prepared. You writing things down. Also, I'm an overthinker, so I write everything down. Like I have a to-do list that's super long. I make sure my to-do list is at least 30 things a day because I know I'm not going to get all of that done. But as long as I know I got God first, I know he's going to lead me in the path. I may not get everything done, but it's going to stay on my mind. I'm going to keep chipping away at it. Keep chipping away at it. So many people, this is what ends up happening, right? In entrepreneurship, people will do things for a year. They'll do things for 2 years. They'll do something for 3 years, and then they'll switch and do something else. They was right about to get their breakthrough in what they just started, but they didn't give it enough time to develop. They didn't give people enough time to believe. And then when you jump around, you do this thing, that thing, that thing, that thing, that thing. Guess what? People are gonna you limit your trust factor in people because people are gonna say, look, they're not solid. They're not serious about what they're doing. But each year, if you get better, just a little bit better, each year, a little better, a little better, a little better, did something a little bit better, pour something else into you, gave some more to the world, help more people, you're gonna see a transformation in your life that you've never seen before. You're gonna have overflowing clients. So hopefully that answers your question.
Look, that's everything. That's everything, y'all. Give me 1 second real quick. I got to do something real quick, but I'll be right back. Look, man, keep them occupied. Look, I got to go grab this charge. This thing trying to go dead this quick, so I'll be right back, okay?
Absolutely. You guys, we could open it up for Q&A if you guys want. Ask me anything. Let's do it. We could open it up for Q&A if some of you guys want to come off mute or raise a hand, whatever you want to do. We can open up for Q&A if anyone else has any questions. Be more than happy to
Hi,
answer.
hi, Maine. Thank you so much. I appreciate everything that you are sharing with us. And it's crazy. You're right. I've been knowing you for over a year now, and we know some of the story, but we don't know all of the story. I am so thankful that you shared a lot of it. Even though we don't have all, I'm appreciative of the tidbits that you're dropping with us. Um, Obviously, I've been in financing forever. Financing and funding, that's my lane. But I am serious about Turo.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me where to start for that person. That person is like, this is what I'm serious in. This is what I want to do. My credit is in place. I have the finances. Where do you start?
Okay, so as far as with Turo, you want to start with, so this is how I do Turo, right? I do the math in my head, right? So I do 3 months, right? I need to make a return on my investment, right? So I do 3 months, right? And then what vehicle can I get? So the vehicles that are good for that particular ratio is like Nissan Altimas, Mercedes C classes. These are some of the vehicles that are good for that area. Even maybe a 4-cylinder like a Mini Cooper, right? These cars you could get for like $7,000-8,000, right? But if you do the math, right, $70 per day, you probably get on one of those, right? 30 days in a month. Let's say you got to rent it out those complete 30 days. That's gonna be about 2,100. You do that for 3 months, that's 6,000. So you made your money back on your initial investment of 7,000, maybe your 1,000, give or take. You also put mileage restrictions on your vehicles as well. That's key too. No more than like 300. So that way you can balance how many miles is being ran on it. You also want to make sure that you take a lot of pictures on the vehicle. And it's simple. You get one vehicle, you start small. Once you start cash flowing on that vehicle, then you go get another vehicle, right? If you want to be technical with it, you could get a loan for 7,000, right? Run the Turo for 2 months. Now you have the cash flow to go pay down the majority of that balance. You may want to even cash it out. Now you just developed a good relationship with that bank. If you borrow 7,000 from a bank, they'll give you 14. Now you could go get another car for 14. You still have this one running. This one's still cash flowing you 2,000. You got another car now. Economy. So I would say with Turo, the best way to start is economy. You want to look for vans that are 4 cylinders because it has multiple passengers, or you want to look at Altimas, Mini Coopers. I like the Mini Coopers. I like the Altimas. Those are always everyday cars. And then vans. I had a Dodge Caravan that did really well on Turo as well, because a lot of people don't think when people go on road trips, they may want a van last minute. So those do good as well. So take a lot of pictures, economy car, something that you could pay off in 3 to 4 months, and keep your costs low. You want to have something that has lower mileage and that's good as far as insurance wise. So hopefully that answers your question, Toya.
That did. So just to double back, obviously economy cars,
Mhm.
Nissan you pointed out, but you also pointed out Mercedes C-Class.
Mhm.
Because the value of the car is higher,
Mhm.
are you purchasing new so that way you can have a lower rate, or you're purchasing a good used car? How are you doing it?
So the C class, you can purchase it new, right? If you
Right.
purchase it new, don't purchase it, lease it. You don't want to
Okay.
buy a new car because it's going to depreciate faster and the mileage is going to be ran up crazy. So if you're getting a new car and you're doing Turo, lease and then put mileage restrictions on the vehicle, so it'll pay for your lease. Like a friend of mine, he has a Maserati in Jersey. He pays $700 a month for the payment, but it's renting out for like $169 a day. So in 4 days, he made his lease. He has mileage restrictions on it, and the rest of the days is just profit. So
Awesome. Thank you.
so
Yeah, that's perfect.
he stays below that threshold of his lease, and he's still earning income. So that's it. Me personally, I have a dealership, so my strategy is a little different. So there's different strategy. If
Right.
you're going higher end, lease. If you're going mid to mid level, you want to just buy it outright. Like if you like 15 and under, just buy it outright, or if not, put a hefty down, run it, get the money, pay off that loan, go get a higher loan, and then go get another vehicle. So that's how you could do it on that end. But that's a good question.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. And the only reason why I said Mercedes-Benz is because being that I'm right here between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we always having festivals and high-end people coming in town. So to have the luxury line is very profitable as well as low end, obviously, because people still come into town. But to have that accessible to people, it tends to do really well. So, but I want it to make sense too. I want it to make sense. So
no, you're absolutely right. The high ends do really well. You want to have if your location could be close to an airport, that's really good. Like both of my places, my place in Cali and my place in Vegas are near the airport. So it's easily accessible for people that's flying in and out. Vegas is also a tourist town. So it's good, you know, when you have, and they like to be flashy out there. So, you know, it's good to have nicer cars out there. So it just depends on what you want to do. You could also buy the car outright cash. There's so many different strategies. You could buy the car outright cash, then go to the bank, get a loan, and then go buy a couple more cars, right? You can get a loan on a car you just paid for cash and go get 2 more cars. Now you got 2 cars cash flowing, you paying back that loan, and you still got the one that you paid cash for. So it's so many different ways you could do it. It just depends on your strategy, like I said, and what's your goals on how you want to do it. Being that I have a dealer's license, I get cars below wholesale value. So a lot of times it don't make sense for me to buy a new car because I know they're going to pack me on the price. But I have friends in good places where I could lease, you know, if I want to, or if I want to do this, or, you know what I mean? That's why it's good when you're in that business, that line of work. People are always going to need 2 things. What's your biggest expenses? We went over the biggest expenses, right? Home, food, all of those are great, valuable sources to get income, right? So when I was younger, I thought about it. I was like, man, what am I going to get into, right? I don't have a degree. I don't have this. I was like, oh, I'm going to get my real estate license. Then I moved to California. I didn't have a job. I got my real estate license in California. I was doing loans, right? So I've been in the loan space for about 20 years. I used to work at a company called First Banker when I was a mortgage lender. And I started learning LIBORs and indexes and, you know, different APRs and how they ran up. And then I started studying. I'm like, look, if the APR rates are lower on certain lending products, right, and you can get a return that's higher on certain investments, that's the play, right? Get the money, get a low interest rate on the money, and flip it into something that you can get a high return on. And that's just the name of the game. That's how you get rich, really. Just letting you, yep.
Right.
Yep.
Thank you.
Profits and wages, right?
That's it. That's right.
Yeah. But that's why credit is the most important key. Because if the credit is good, the utilization is low, you can always go back to the bank and get some money. But if you got high utilization or you got debt that's not paid down, then you're never going to be able to go back and get some money. So my thing is, what I do is if I get a big loan, I'm chunking away at it. Every big look, I might not eat. May eat top ramens for a month just to stack up enough to really chunk at it, right? Then I slap it with a 7-piece or slap it with an 8-piece or a 9-piece, whatever it is to pay that loan down faster. Not only is your score going to jump ridiculously, the bank is going to look at you like, Dad, this dude's handling a 5-year plan like it's nothing, and a year paying it off, or 12 months, 18 months. They're going to give you more money. So the key is like starting with 15, right? Turning that 15, paying that back, getting 25, paying that back, getting 35, paying that back, getting 50, paying that back, getting 75, paying that back, getting 100. Now it's like throughout all of those times you borrowed money, you should have some investments that's yielding you some income off of that money that you borrow. You see what I'm saying? And that's how you play that game with the banks. And then just having multiple lenders is always key.
Awesome. Thank you, Maine. I appreciate that. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else have any questions or they want to talk about something? Maybe a comment, no matter. You're welcome, brother Raj. How y'all doing out there? Cool. Nobody got any questions? Maybe y'all want to say something? You come off mute if you want to just say something. Maybe.
Well, I'm gonna say
Hey,
so. Oh, you got it. Okay.
hey, love. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? I just want to hop on real quick. Hold on. Look, I'm in the kitchen cooking and listening and look, multitasking. But I always want to tell Maine, he always drops nuggets and he knows that. And he's, man, the value he gave y'all a while ago, please take it and use it. He just gave y'all some free game. Free game. Go take it and use it and flip your money. But I do appreciate you guys hopping on tonight. Y'all just killed it. What a great way to start this movement, y'all. So I'm excited. But again, definitely, Maine, you always bring the nuggets, the value, and I appreciate you so much. And that's all I got, y'all. Be blessed.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Karonda. I appreciate it. Thank you also, Kandice, for asking those great questions and just chiming in like you do. I appreciate that. We had a young lady, Miss Sally, said, how do you navigate past discouragement? That's a really good question, right? So we all get discouraged. We all get to where we, get shaken off our rocker a little bit. I think navigating against discouragement would be, really, I know it sounds cliche, but understanding what you're doing it for, right? What's your why? Like, why are you doing it? Whether it's your child, whether it's to see your mom in a better place, whether it's to see your sister graduate. Like, recently my sister, she just graduated from nursing school. I helped her to graduate from nursing school. I put into that, you know what I mean? So just seeing my family become more financially sound and building each other up. I think when you take yourself out of the way, discouragement is you're dissing your own courage, right? So that's what discouragement is, right? You're putting a diss on the courage that you have. I think courage comes from thinking of others before we think of our own self, and just really like focusing on like, I wake up every morning. I'm not doing this for me, right? I got a daughter. I got my mom, right? I'm doing this for them. I think when you start putting it in a phase of like, I'm doing it for these people. And then also what I did was, when I'm thinking about my why, each client that I'm talking to, I'm approaching them like they're my why, right? So if I see a nice lady, I'm looking at her like she's my mom, like, yes, ma'am, this, that. I see a young kid, I'm not looking at them like, oh, she got this kid. I'm like looking at them like it's my daughter, like, yeah, share this. And when you go out and you really share things from a good space, a space of wanting people to grow, a space of wanting to educate people, a space of, look, I just want to help you grow. People feel that and they do business with you, right? So I think just operating in your spirit of why, operating in the spirit of love, that ultimately puts you in a good space to where you don't get discouraged as much. What's up, Princess? You good? All right. Yeah. So.
All right, you all. Well, look, we've kept y'all for almost an hour. We're getting close to the end, Maine. Look, it's been real. It's been amazing. We thank everybody for showing up today. Like, hey, when I tell you it's only up here. So yeah. So, Roger, you got a question before? This will be the last question. You got a question?
Yeah, just real quick. I hear that UWE is back in motion, but I know we're not going there.
Okay, was that a question, Raj, or you just saying a statement?
It's a statement. I got an email today from UWE. If they were just saying if we wanted to come back, we're welcome to come back, and if we don't, we'll just lose our membership or whatever.
Oh, okay. I could find out about it for you. I haven't found out no information on that, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I just saw that. I just wanted to put that out there.
Okay, I respect it. Thank you so much.
All right. Awesome. Thank you, Roger. Thank you, everybody that had amazing questions. We appreciate y'all for showing up today for this Infinite Wealth Movement. I'm excited to see where it goes. And I hope y'all have a blessed day. You guys, a blessed night wherever you are. See y'all later. Thank you, Maine, once more.
Thank you. Y'all have a blessed night. God bless.